about it. As the game develops, they've got to make sure that they change it.
Fluminense will know that 8 of Boca's last 16 games have ended in draws, and when it's gone to shootouts, it is they who have prevailed. Fluminense will not want to put themselves in a position where Sergio Romero can be the hero again, as he has been 3 times already in this competition alone in penalty shootouts. In fact, he's saved more penalties than he's been beaten by in the competition this season.
Well, you know for a fact that he is thinking that right now. I mean, he's obviously, you're on a run as a goalkeeper, you're guessing right, you've done your homework as well. That's a big part of it. And you know, he's just a big lad. He moves and he's got plenty of energy to get across the goal. It makes a difference. And of course, I mean, he might be 36 years of age, but you know, if you're Fluminense, you know that he's got this record now. So that's already in the heads of the Fluminense players who might have to take penalties. So they absolutely, definitely do not want to go to penalties.
An iconic setting for a truly monumental football match. One of the most significant in all of club football, the rights to be crowned the champions of South America. Fluminense have put themselves in pole position to do so, and to give success to their 43-year-old goalkeeper Fabio, who lost the final with Cruzeiro all the way back in 2009 as the captain of the side he spent 16 years with.
I like the way you just go over that, say, 43-year-old goalkeeper.
His remarkable longevity. He first played in this competition 22 years ago. Is he finally going to taste the glory at the end of it? As Nino looks to immediately get Fluminense pushing forward, applying pressure again, but Boca must have to come out revitalised in this second half, and they have an early free kick for the challenge on Cavani by Nino.
Just what it looks like right from the start here. They were playing like it was almost a 4-2 sitting, you know, 2 wide players and the 2 up front. But right now they're just leaving 1 sitting in front of their defence at the moment. So it looks to me as if they're trying to make it much more like a 4-1-3 to Boca Juniors, and they have to do it. They have to take chances. It feels if they lose another goal, it could be beyond them.
Paul Fernandez leaves the free kick to be delivered by Barca. It was Scanso who ensured that the ball dropped in favour of Fluminense. It's been carried exceptionally well clear. Solo mission here. It's only sheer weight of numbers that works in Boca's favour.
Again, just a little bit of pressure. That's all it took, a little bit of pressure. Fluminense's problem is, do they go and try and chase it a little bit? Do they go for that second goal? Because, you know, if they don't do that and they sit back, Boca will just get much more confident. They've tried to start the game in the second half in a much more positive frame of mind, with a slightly more positive setup. But Fluminense can't allow that.
Samuel Javier with the throw. It's the second leg of the semi-final against Internacional through suspension. Here's Valentini, who's a lucky boy to still be on the pitch at this stage of the final. Leaping again. And Mancano was the aggressor in the collision that time, even if it is the Fluminense striker who has come off the worst of the 2.
Those challenges, I mean, he knows he's not going to win the ball there. And the most likely thing, he's actually going to injure himself when he goes into that sort of challenge. Slightly unnecessary, but it just shows his willingness. He's not making any attempt for the ball whatsoever. A little bit of retribution for something that's gone on before, I suspect.
Argentine has a Brazilian team in front against the side that won the title in Argentina last season. That got them into this competition, but they finished well off the pace in the league in the first half of this campaign, did Boca Juniors. And they are struggling as well in the Copa de la Liga, which is the competition that makes up the second half of the season. Done well in the Copa Argentina, and so we've reached the final of this competition as well. And they are showing some determination to try and turn things in their favour.
It's not that Boca weren't aggressive before, but they've upped the stakes, I think, this second half. They are trying to tighten up as much as they can. They do not want Fluminense to get comfortable possession, which they had for about 30 minutes. They don't want to allow that to happen again.
Marcelo, 5 Champions League winners' medals in his collection. His Copa Libertadores title going to be added in the autumn of his career. Fabra. Figal. It's Medina. Valentin Barco. Frank Fabra. Paul Fernandez, the scorer of their winning penalty in the shootout in the semi-finals. Can he do to inspire Boca this time? Advíncula. Away by Felipe Melo. Barco. A bit more purposeful. Marcelo was there. The shot, when it finally comes in on Fabio's goal, is lacking any of the energy that is required to seriously test him, even if he is at the very, very veteran age of 43.
It's like the worrying time for Fluminense here. An injury, but you just see Boca there. They've put the ball in the box a couple of times, and you think about the first half, how rarely that actually happened. You know, and if you've got Cavani in there, you want to give him something to attack. And he's had very, very little to attack in certainly the first half. Second half, lots more, but it's a bit of a blow-hurt for Fluminense. They're going to have to make a change.
Mancano, one good goal-scoring opportunity, one goal. Player who has spoken candidly about the fact that many of his family back in Argentina are Boca supporters, has produced the moment of joy for followers of Fluminense. What do you make of the approach of Fernando Diniz, the Fluminense head coach? Much has been spoken about his tactical innovations, the fact that he's anti-positional.
Yeah, I mean that's, they say it's not like Pep, but in actual fact, if you could take the history of Pep all the way back to Cruyff and to the Dutch, or where that initially came from, that is specifically what the Dutch did back when they changed football and looked at total football. Everyone could play in different positions, and that was anti-positional. So the anti-Pep thing I'm not convinced by, but he's absolutely stood by it today. There have been various times when players have popped up in the strangest positions, asking different questions, and indeed it has led to the goal, because that's where Keno was. Instead of the left wing, he was over right.
They have been forced into that change, though. Felipe Melo has gone off injured to be replaced by Marlon, who is on loan from Shakhtar Donetsk. Might get to find out how Pep gets on against the anti-Pep in the Club World Cup. If Fluminense do go on to win this game, then they would be the South American representatives in that tournament, where Manchester City will be representing Europe, and pretty often it is the clubs from those two continents who end up meeting in the final.
Yeah, and you know how much it means to the South Americans, arguably more than it means to the Europeans. It's something they celebrate incredibly if they win it, and suffer badly if they don't.
There was a bit of an injury doubt coming into the evening, Felipe Melo. So the fact that they managed to get 50 minutes out of him, Fluminense, will probably be considered a decent day's work. Here come Boca. Advíncula getting forward, but the option he provided was not utilised.
That's poor. You should do much, much better than that. Nobody near you, and you want to get the ball into a dangerous area, just like I was saying before. You want your strikers to have something to go and attack, and that is a very different disappointing cross back in there. To be fair, I don't think Cavani's got himself in the greatest positions either to go and attack them anyway.
Followed by Ganso. Here's Valentini. Eki Fernandez. Out of play off the boot of Paul Fernandez.
You look at the first half though, the difference. There was a period when it was 80% possession for Fluminense. It's not like that in the second half. So they have stepped it up a little bit without controlling the game, Boca. They have definitely stepped up a bit. And of course now they know that when the major centre-backs is off and Marlon's on, they might think that will help them as well.
Samuel Javier with the throw. John Arias. Lovely footwork. Here's Keno. Cano awaiting the delivery again. That's very well smothered by Sergio Romero.
He's made a difference since he's went to the right-hand side, Keno, hasn't he? I mean, I thought on the left-hand side right at the start he was getting kicked all over the place by Avincolo, and I thought, well, just keep on running at him. Well, he's done the opposite. He's ignored him and he's went over the other side, but it's worked.
Paul Fernandez. Ezequiel Fernandez closed down by Keno. Eki Fernandez, Advíncula demanding the pass. And eventually it goes in his direction. It's deep with the cross, hit away by Nino.
That's actually much, much better, but had you given them the ball earlier, he could have gone to the byline himself there.
Advíncula. He go for goal himself. And Fabio wasn't sure.
He's a different player when he's further up the field, Advíncula. You know, right at the start, he seemed so rash when he was defending. He just looked as if there was a mistake in him every time the ball went near him. However, now that he's pushing forward and there's areas to run into, there's big, big spaces there, and he's finding himself 1-on-1 against Marcelo. He's not gone by him, but he's certainly getting crosses in. In this case, he also got a shot away, so he's looking like the danger man just now.
Cavani, who has not so far looked dangerous enough from a Boca point of view, although he's applied some pressure here on Marlon.
I'm sure that ball went out. That looked to me as if it should be a corner kick.
Might have a free kick instead.
We'll take it. I suspect it may be his hamstring. Slight giveaway there.
Well, they are increasingly likely to cause you problems once you're in your 40s, as Felipe Melo is. Not a corner, a short corner.
It's one of the few things that players never practice, a free kick from those sort of areas, so you just treat it as a corner.
Well, what can Valentin Barco do? This brilliant young talent who's come through the youth system, been a Boca player since 9 years of age. Whips it in with too much weight.
And that's the problem of a short corner. You try and do exactly the same thing and just give it a little bit too much. You see, yeah, he's getting himself in front there, and I think we can safely say he made the most of it.
Lovely story ahead of the final revealed about Valentin Barco. His dad used to make a 400-kilometre round trip 3 times a week to get him to training with Boca when he was first scouted and invited to join the youth setup. Nino showing wonderful composure and belief in his teammates. Martinelli is the one who's finding himself under the most intense pressure from Eki Fernandez, but how well has he navigated a route out of that? And look, here come Fluminense. They can ignore the wrestling. John Arias, support is arriving now. And that support was nowhere near close enough to getting on the pass.
It is extraordinary to see a game going on and a wrestling match in the middle of the field, and the referee says, just keep on playing.
It would appear that he has set his mind to letting things slide.
I think he's forgot his cards. I think that's what it is.
Barco nodded down and away by Nino, poked further clear by Keno. Paul Fernandez, Medina, Advíncula, Marcelo breaking up play. The latest to go to ground, and it will be a free kick for that challenge on the 35-year-old.
Just the psychology of a game, isn't it? We've seen an opportunity here. Just seeing if there was any handball there. Not sure there was. Referee's having a little think about it. He's thought about a lot and not done a lot.
3 years as a Fluminense player as well, Fernando Diniz. This is his second spell in charge as head coach. The first was relatively brief back in 2019 when the opportunity to return came in April of last year. It was he who instigated the contact, so determined was he to have another crack at the job. And enjoyed his previous working relationship with the president, Mario Bittencourt, and had kept his phone number handy.
Again, you shouldn't give away a foul there. I mean, he gets back to the goal, they're in a dangerous position. You know, ask them the question. Get them to get the ball down and try and play out. Yet you've given them a free out for absolutely nothing there. You can understand why that man Almiron looks a little bit frustrated.
Well, for Boca, defeat in 2012 against Corinthians was painful. The one in 2018 against their fiercest rivals, River Plate, was almost insufferable. Are they going to be on the receiving end of a third successive defeat in a final? John Arias. Here's Keno. John Arias. Theatrically to ground, and Boca aren't happy about it.
You know this referee isn't going to give that. Absolutely no chance. He's getting put under a lot of pressure, obviously, by the players, but all these fans as well. But to give a penalty in this situation is going to have to be much, much cleaner than that. And he was dragged down. There's no doubt about it. He was dragged down.
Well, Frank Fabra, based on what he's seen from the referee in the previous hour of the game, clearly felt that was a liberty he was able to take.
I mean, I would absolutely argue there should be 2 penalty kicks so far. Both of them, of course, should have been for Fluminense.
The Chilean referee Juan Lara is the VAR official tonight.
Has he turned up? Is he here?
He too is operating on an incredibly high bar. Cavani in entirely the wrong direction from one end of the field to the other. Herman Cano. Advíncula won enough of the ball and delivers a very stern message in the ear of Herman Cano.
I have to say, once again, I'm not sure I'm in agreement with the referee in that one.
Martinelli away by Figal. Cavani, the latest to take the law into his own hands.
A couple of strange pieces of play by Cavani. By the way, I knew Andrew wasn't injured because he rolled about. Biggest giveaway. You roll about, you're fine.
This is the danger when you let the game flow, though, which is an admirable approach, but it can boil over if you don't penalise at the necessary moments.
He has trodden on his toe, but it's not as if he has to stay down, because quite clearly, as soon as he was annoyed, he jumped to his feet again. Oh, finally! He's found his cards.
Well, was that for the challenge, or was it for the cry more that Cavani administered in the direction of his opponent?
I think it's the latter. I do actually think it was.
First yellow card of the game. More than an hour played. Here's Keno. Arias hits the floor again in the hope that he might get something more than a throw-in.
Now it's exactly the opposite it was in the first half. Fluminense are delighted for the game to become slow, stop-start, not allowing the opponents to get any flow to their game.
The Brazilian side are ahead in what is just the 7th meeting between these two great South American clubs. Even split so far, 2 wins apiece, 2 draws. They actually met 4 times. 4 of the 6 previous meetings came in the 2012 edition of this tournament. They were in the same group and then were drawn together in the quarterfinals as well. Oh, Nino sliding in, winning the ball despite being in a prone position. Here's John Arias. He's the player, Merentiel, that Boca will hope, if a chance does come their way, that it falls to him. 13 goals this season in all competitions.
The player I think they want to get it to him was Barco, who we saw there, but Barco just hasn't been able to get into the game in the final third anywhere near enough. And that lack of creativity seems to be Boca's biggest problem just now.
Here is that man, Barco. He's been fouled.
But you don't want the ball there. I mean, it's all very well when he gets a free kick. But in actual fact, you want free kicks in the final third, because the referee will either possibly go for his card, but give you free kicks in areas where you can cause some damage. Oh, do you know what's happened? He's gone in at half-time and he's actually remembered where he left his cards.
Well, they on the tray with the oranges and the cup of tea. Keno is the player who has become the first for Fluminense to be cautioned tonight. Medina has made good progress and has managed to keep the ball away from Martial, but not Keno. This is Martinelli. Hoisted forward by Valentini, more in hope than expectation, but asked a serious enough question of Marlon for him to concede the throw.
His first massive involvement in the game there. Doesn't take any chances. He knows he's got Cavani behind him.
Advincola. Fabio came, got a decent punch. Still has work to do. Eki Fernandez wanted a free kick, not forthcoming. Breaks on here. Well, that is cynical in the extreme from Big Al.
And that's bordering on an assault. There is not even a consideration of going near the ball there. He was going to stop on whatever happened there. And it has suddenly... And now you kind of half understand why the referee didn't go for his cards in the first half, because had there been quite a few in the first half, you know, the red would probably have been coming out. But that's a... Cynical's being polite about that one. That's a vicious tackle.
He was in danger of hurting himself as well as his opponent. Nicolas Figal, who joined Boca from Inter Miami at the start of last year. Samuel Xavier gets it back from Ganso. Can Fluminense find a way to go through the gears again? Andre. Another goal for the team from Rio would surely put the game beyond Boca's reach. Martinelli. Andre. Romero down to smother.
And lots of options on there. He's gone for a shot from 25 yards, but he's got three players looking to run into spaces there. You know, he can slip that ball through.
Advíncula for Medina. Suddenly Fluminense stretched. Marlon managed to nod it away. This is better all of a sudden from Boca. And that is an effort of outstanding ferocity. Nearly knocked Fabio over as he beat it away. Eki Fernandez taking aim.
Well, that's not a bad effort there at all. Got it down, caught it pretty clean. The game has really livened up. He feels as if there's some sparks just about to fly. Decent control on his chest there. I mean, it is straight down the goalkeeper's throat, so it's going to be difficult to beat him from there. It would need a goalkeeping mistake.
Difficult to watch for Marcos Rojo, one of the key players for Boca in getting them this far, but unavailable because of his 2 yellow cards in the second leg of the semi-final win on penalties over Palmeiras. Another player is being withdrawn through injury for Fluminense. It is Samuel Xavier who is being carried to the touchline. A change is on its way up front for Boca. Dario Benedetto is one of 2 being prepared.
Yeah, just look at Cavani. He has slowed down a little bit in this second half, and you wonder if he can last the entirety of the game.
I'm entirely sure that Samuel Xavier's injury is a permanent situation.
You just get it in your mind when someone goes off in the stretcher, they might not come back on again, but we shall see.
Keno, wonderful pass. He was caught, was he, by the outstretched arm of Valentini? No, say the officials, and the linesman had a very good view.
Didn't want to take too much of a chance there, Valentini. I don't think he had the pace to stay with him.
Medina. Ezequiel Fernandez. Frank Fabra.
Miraculous recovery by Xavier, but he's not allowed on yet.
Medina for Advíncula. 3 in the penalty area to aim at. Advíncula, though, goes for goal himself. An extraordinary equaliser. Fired into the corner by Luis Advíncula. Boca are level. A strike out of the blue from a player who now has 4 in the tournament for this season.
Well, for a player who looked at the start of the game as if he was going to cost his team very badly for his tackling, his defensive work, he was just too excitable. But he has been the best player in a blue and yellow shirt going forward in this game, particularly in the second half. He's spending his entire time not at right back, but on the right wing. But this time, not on his right foot. You're expecting him to go down there, but he cuts in, and the angle, you just don't think it's on, but that's right in the corner. That's hit the side net and bounced right in front of the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper's nightmare. He is slightly unsighted, he's seen it really late, but even so, that is a magnificent goal, at least the equal of the opener.
Just the 13th that Boca have managed in the competition this season, but the Copa Libertadores final is level again, unless...
No, I doubt that. He looks okay to me there. Try to see if it's Cavani, but he looks as if he's onside there. How much effect is he having on the play anyway? Does it go beyond him? They're having a check, but I'd be shocked if this one's called up. Do you know what? They're having a right good look at it, aren't they? See, it looks to me it's his hand, eh? You're so wary of calling VAR before, aren't you? It's actually very good to see it in real time, though. I mean, the player on the further side, you're asking the question, is he offside? Yes, yes. He's having absolutely no effect whatsoever on the goal. None at all.
Yes, confirmation. That would have been a moment of huge controversy if Boca's equaliser had been cancelled out. Luis Advincola.
More than controversy, they've been playing wrong in every possible manner, but you want to get these decisions right. And yes, suddenly Boca, they've come out with a better attitude in the second half. They've changed it about a little bit. Really surprised that Fluminense have allowed that much space, and it's been showing. Advincola, he's just been asked to go forward the whole game. We've been talking about it in the second half. Since they changed the system there and they moved one winger to the other side there, he's just had the freedom of that right-hand side to go and attack it. And the temptation to say to Keno, get over there and just stop him going forward, because he looks as if he could keep on causing trouble.
And the goal came whilst the substitutes were waiting to be introduced. I wonder whether that changes Jorge Almiron's thoughts about when to make those alterations, because all of a sudden Boca are effectively back to plan A. This is where they would have wanted to be with 15 minutes to play.
Yeah, I mean, it was in a situation where I was thinking, okay, we need to try absolutely everything you can, and now suddenly you don't have to do that, and they're back in famous Boca Drudge territory, where they always spend a lot of time in this competition in the knockout stage.
Cavani for Medina. Here comes the goal scorer again, motoring forward with renewed confidence, and now looking to turn provider away by Nino. Suddenly it is the blue and gold of Boca Juniors who look the more dangerous. Paul Fernandez. He was thinking about something spectacular. Here's the other Fernandez. Fabra. Merentiel. Line for a goal kick.
Good stroke to think.
We are 45 minutes away from match of the day getting underway over on BBC One, 10:20. Rounding up the day's Premier League action. Arsenal versus Manchester City from WSL is our live game tomorrow lunchtime, 12:15, BBC 2. And we have live FA Cup football for you as well from the first round at 5:15 on BBC 2 tomorrow. Charlton Athletic against Cray Valley Paper Mills of the 8th tier. We've had a couple of upsets today. Why not another tomorrow?
Just watching Marcelo there. He's not spending a lot of time in the left full-back area. I don't think he fancies chasing Advincola. And he's hobbling a bit as well.
Benedetto wants to get on. He wants to get involved, and he's frustrated he's been asked to now wait.
Yeah, he's all ready to come on. It was all just about to go. And he's looking on, but you have to make sure everyone's fully fit. And if Cavani can, you know, kind of run this off, but you don't generally run off cramp. Not at that level and not at his age.
But time has been able to evaporate off the clock before Cavani departs. Dario Benedetto comes on to take over up front. Also into the action, Luca Langoni. Born and raised in Buenos Aires, a product of Boca's youth system.
Think about the positivity. That's two attack-minded players that are coming on. They're coming on for two attackers, but you know what they're thinking now. They can win it.
The reach of Valentini and all the way through to Fabio.
This game has completely changed now. Absolutely, totally and utterly changed now. And if you look at it, the way it's playing out just now, and it can adapt again, of course, but the more dangerous side now, by a long way, is Boca. And that, you couldn't imagine that 20-25 minutes into this game.
16 years since they last triumphed in this competition. It's the second longest wait they have had between successes, of which there have been 6 down the years. Ganso looking to try and win a throw-in, instead he concedes one.
This would be so hard for, well, Marcelo, as I was saying before, he looks as if he was struggling a little bit. He wasn't getting back at all, hobbling about a bit. That is one of the problems about some of the players that played in Europe. They get to a certain age, come over here, but they're not going to last at the pace of the games for the entirety of the game sometimes.
Diogo Barbosa is on for Marcelo. It looks as though Ganso's evening is done. One of the key men for Fluminense. No, it's not him, it's Martinelli who is being withdrawn. And Lima takes over, although Ganso is hobbling around the pitch, so maybe this is a treble Fluminense change.
To be honest, I don't think Ganso's looked right the whole second half. Every time he's played a pass, he's not moved. He's played it and stopped. Hasn't moved at all. He doesn't look as if he's fully fit to me.
Advincola. By Nino. Yeah, confirmation John Kennedy on for Ganso, a very lively attacking player.
I don't think that'll be a particularly bad thing for him. I mean, obviously Kennedy's a striker. He'll go up there and try and have a little bit more effect, because they're having very little effect the last 10-15 minutes. Actually, for most of the second half, Fluminense haven't made any impact, or much of an impact going forward. And now they've got, with Cano up there and John Kennedy up there, they've got a strike force again.
Well, if there was a devil on one shoulder and an angel on the other ahead of the game for Fernando Diniz, then the devil was tempting him into starting John Kennedy up front with Herman Cano. And John Kennedy is immediately looking to come alive and make things happen.
I mean, you know why I played Ganso? Because he's got real quality. But I would say he looked about 60% fit for the majority of the game, and by the end of it, he wasn't even running.
Samuel Javier was a pass intended to be received by John Kennedy, who has scored 3 goals in the last 5 knockout games for Fluminense. Away by Nino. Advincola was fully committed to winning the ball, but got an awful lot of his opponent instead.
That's a horrible challenge. And again, if you're making a tackle like that, it's not about whether you meant it or not. Were you in control? And to be fair, absolutely not. I mean, that's a horrible tackle. That is, you have to put yourself in the position of the man who's on the end of that. And he's just completely and utterly wiped him out. And the referee's saying it's both of them that are going for it. I don't think so. I think Advincola's much more at fault there.
Yeah, the minute Advincola turns sideways into Lima, that takes away the sense that it was a 50-50. Serious football dignitaries watching on, the presidents of FIFA and UEFA either side of the CONMEBOL president. This is a global football occasion, even though it is South American club football's showpiece occasion.
Yeah, this man, Advincola, to be honest, he has been, in every way, positive and negatively, the star of the show in this game. And it's not often you say that about a right fullback, but I mean, you're talking about good and bad and devils and angels. He's them all rolled up into one. Scored the goal. Certainly leaving his boot in there quite a few times. I see the Hawks turned up.
I did tell you it was one of global football's most colourful occasions, Pat. But Advíncula now has 4 of the 13 goals that Boca have scored in this season's competition. He has been their most reliable source of them throughout the entirety of the campaign. And just come on, it looks as though Lima might have to immediately come off.
I mean, he's absolutely taken out there, completely taken out. Giga is going to come on. He usually plays right fullback. We'll see what changes are made. He's not coming off, is he?
For the time being, Lima returns.
I think the possibility that Xavier, who had a little bit of an injury, might be a temptation to see if he can last. Make the decision now. I'm not too sure that Xavier is going to be able to carry on.
So the player who started the second leg of the semi-final against Internacional in place of Samuel Xavier comes on to replace him in the final. Guga into the action. Here's Andre. Herman Cano. Cleared initially by Advíncula, but not away. John Kennedy trying to plot a route through the blue and gold shirts.
Just mentioned a moment ago, I thought Keno should go and play on the left-hand side to stop Advíncula going forward. That's exactly what has happened now. Thing is, the horse is bolted. It's a bit late to be doing that now.
John Kennedy, strong, determined, winning the ball and going for goal, and the deflection takes so much sting out of it that Sergio Romero had time to rediscover his feet. That is not Christ the Redeemer, by the way.
No, he's come at us. But that's poor, that. John Kennedy, I don't think he can shoot there. Keno's running up alongside him. In actual fact, Keno stops, doesn't continue the run, because he knows Kennedy and knows he ain't going to pass, so there's no point in me making the run. That's the wrong decision there. Keno should go in there and ask the question and drag the defender, but he stops and stops the run there. Don't do that. There's 5 minutes to go. There's glory waiting there for you.
We are 4 minutes away from extra time. Free kick conceded by Boca. They showed great determination, trailing at the interval, to get themselves back level in this second half through Luis Advíncula's stupendous strike to cancel out the first half goal scored by Herman Cano. Diogo Barbosa. Just not happening for Fluminense in the second half.
Do you know, just a psychological thing? I think that little bit of a change that was made by that man Amaron, just at the start of the second half, instead of having 2 sitting midfielders, one, then he asked his full-back to go forward, but then his full-back was invited to go forward, and it seems to have changed the game. And of course, if you're 1-0 up, you can just give it away, and he did not want to give it away, but you got to be brave. You don't get given trophies without being brave.
Merentiel. This is too much of himself. Advíncula lunging in. In towards Herman Cano, loitering with intent. Romero alert.
Can't take your eyes off Advíncula, honestly. Every tackle's an adventure. Every pass is an adventure.
Super pass from Benedetto to try and get Merentiel in behind. Marlon up to the task. Keen followers of Spanish football might remember Luis Advíncula from his time with Rayo Vallecano. Another spectacular goal, perhaps. Certainly Fabio was uncertain as to whether that effort from Meki Fernandez had the required bend.
Few no opportunities again. That big gap in there, he's running into there. There should be a player there covering. It's too slow across there. Great effort. He's caught it so well. Ball's moving in the air. A little bit higher. Just a little bit in. I'm not sure the keeper's going to get that.
And in the end, it was curling away from the target from Merentiel rather than back towards it. John Kennedy. Arm was raised. Enough for a yellow card.
Yeah. And first viewing, to be honest, it just looks as if he was trying to hold the player off and he's caught him in the face. You won't feel that if you're in the end of it. Let's have a look. Does he have a look first? It's a handoff, it's not more than that. I've had one rule that I would change in football above all others. If someone actually gets touched in the throat, then they hold their face, I would book them for doing that.
Even if the punishment is retrospective, the punishment is contemporaneous for John Kennedy. He scored the goal that got Fluminense back level to 1 apiece in the second leg against Internazionale. He then helped set up the winner, involved in both goals. Fernando Geni's thought that his side had done enough. Instead, they will have to dig deep and go again, very possibly in extra time. Fabra. John Arias. Guga it was who launched the ball high. Preferred a bit more distance. Here's John Kennedy. Has offered some extra energy. Cano. For Cano. For John Kennedy, who's a box of tricks. And was fouled, was he?
Yeah, he's given the first foul. I think he's given the first one. In actual fact, you might actually want the first one instead. A little bit further out. A little bit more opportunity to get the ball up and down over the wall. Attackers are flying in, aren't they? He looked as if he got the ball, that first one. They do go off the feet, you know, the 2 feet going in, sliding in. And if you slide in and you don't get the ball clean, I mean, that's 2 feet again. It's just... It is something you just don't see so much in the European game.
Advincula is dangerous in both halves.
Honestly, you cannot take your eyes off him. I forgot to have a look up at what his sending off record is. I suspect he's seen the odd red card in his time.
Well, as you said, Pat, this is in a better position probably than the one right on the very edge of the penalty area if it had been the second challenge that was penalised. Lima is interested, so too John Arias. We're already midway through 4 minutes of stoppage time.
You're sitting waiting, there's glory waiting for you. If you can put this in the top corner. You can't see that Boca would come back from it, but it's a long way out, and we know Romero's been in great form.
Medina is the player looking to keep out the draft. John Arias, this could be the game. Instead, we'll have to settle for a corner as it loops behind off the wall.
Missing a lot of players. It's 3 of the back 4 from Fluminense are actually off the field just now. So they've had to make a big change in their tactics. And I just get the feeling that Boca would accept the extra time a little bit more than Fluminense would.
John Arias has come across to take the resulting corner. It's clear as far as Lima. He fancied being the hero. All of a sudden, though, Boca not able to take advantage of a counter-attacking opportunity. Instead, John Arias again, out of play off Merentiel.
He's worked hard, Merentiel. He's not really got a lot of support when he was further up front. He's getting back, doing a job for his team. He'll do anything now just to survive this last minute.
Long throw, nodded away by Nicolas Figal. Andre. Lima. Oh, super pass for the glory! Not to be. Diogo Barbosa, inches away.
He doesn't want to take it onto his right foot. He's onside there. You have to bring it in. If it's going to be a left foot, you have to cut across it. He can't get himself to cut across it. And it's curled away from goal instead of towards the goal. It's probably a right foot shot. If he can curl it round with his right foot, but you know what lefties are like. They want to take it on the left.
Inches was perhaps generous. Feet,
yes.
Perhaps.
What a chance. You know, there are seconds to go. You have got the trophy, you have got the glory, you have got eternal glory in your career waiting for you. And he makes a mess of it.
It looks like Vilma Roldan has seen enough for now. The 2023 Copa Libertadores final is heading to extra time. Fluminense in front at half-time through Germán Cano's 13th goal of the campaign. Luis Advíncula with Boca's 13th of the campaign in the second half to level things up. After 90 minutes, Boca Juniors won, Fluminense won. Anything could happen in the next half an hour. Penalties would feel a distinct probability, and one or two in the tricolour colours of Fluminense are fearing their best opportunity to win the game might have gone.
Right, okay, you've got to this stage just now, but pure psychology is on the side of Boca at the moment. They finished the game stronger, they were the better, and certainly when Boca scored this goal, it's really, really special, because they changed the tactics. They'd asked the full-back to come forward. They thought he would create something. I'm not sure they thought he would score a goal, but then, as you say, he scored. Is this his fourth goal of the season? But what a hit this is. With his swinger, with his left foot. It is absolutely brilliant. He knows what he's doing. There is not a fluke. They have actually closed. They've just shown him inside as if to say, you're not going to do that with your left foot. Oh yes, I am. What a goal.
A bolt out of the blue and gold. Yes, 4 goals this season, all of them in this competition for Luis Advíncula. Perhaps not as unlikely a goal scorer as his position on the field would suggest.
Yeah, but the curls there, everything's there, shapes there. He'd be playing extremely well going forward in that second half. Absolutely fantastic play there, and I say he's the best player. However, it could have been so different with seconds to go. I mean, you get yourself through in that position, and it's easy to say now about Barbosa, you know, if you come on as substitute or whatever, sometimes that's difficult, but you've got to get it on target. Get your head down, you've got space, there's only the goalkeeper between you